The Saints continue preparations for the Giants and hoping that Week 4 brings positive outcomes for some of their selected groups. Stay with us. The ACME Oyster House Afternoon Wrap starts right now. Hi again, everybody. Welcome into the ACME Oyster House Afternoon Wrap with John DeShazier. I'm Sean Kelley. We're inside today at the Osher Sports Performance Center. That's because the Saints had to practice inside, even though this weekend's game is outdoors. Rain played a role in this week's practice schedule. John, no surprise there.
Yeah, if you want to get some good work in, they had to come inside. A little inclement weather, which means footing probably would not have been that great outside. I don't think rain is forecast for MetLife Stadium on Sunday, so better to get in and get productive work done rather than go outside and slop around.
All right, let's talk about productive work. The Saints secondary obviously has had a bit of a bumpy road here through the first 3 weeks. John, they're hoping that road smooths out a little bit as they head toward New York.
Yeah, well, they've already given up 10 passing touchdowns, and that's just a high number for any situation, but certainly in the NFL through 3 weeks, that is an astronomical number, and they've got to get some of those issues solved on the back end. It's not going to help that Patrick Robinson is now on injured reserve. He's your nickel back, and so now Ken Crawley and P.J. Williams, the two guys who have kind of subbed out at that other cornerback position, both of those guys are going to have to play extensively, and they're going to have to play well.
Yeah, cornerback Marshawn Lattimore says there's no doubt that teams are coming right after them, some of it perhaps even based upon how successful they were in defending the pass a year ago.
We got to compete better, and just the technique. You know, we've been doing some stuff out of character, and just communication. You know, all that go with it. So I mean, you know, we be doing good for like the first half, and then the second half, you just fall apart. So you know, we just got to get better with that. Stay consistent with what we do.
Meanwhile, the Saints offense is rolling through this first month of the regular season. The challenge continues this weekend when they do take on the New York Giants. And John, one of the reasons why Drew Brees and his receivers are having so much success is he's got a good group in front of him. That offensive line has kept Drew clean for the most part.
Yeah, those guys have really done a phenomenal job. Drew Brees has more than 1,000 yards. He's got 8 touchdowns, no interceptions. And one of the reasons is he's been given time. He's been allowed an extremely good amount of time. Even when there's been pressure, it's been pressure where he's been able to step up in the pocket. And that's really critical for a guy, Drew. You know, one, we know he's a little bit short, so he needs to keep those sight lines clear, and his line's been able to do that for him.
Yeah, the man protecting his blind side, of course, is Terron Armstead, and he reflected back on the fact that there were 50 passing situations that they had to block Drew Brees, or for Drew Brees, last week.
I mean, that's always our number one objective, is to try to keep number 9 as clean as possible. And it's tough, you know, pass protection is tough, rep after rep, especially with so many dropbacks. But we just do our best, working together, helping when we can, helping the other guy when we can, and we're going to keep working.
And then when it comes to the weapons, there are 2 clear weapons right now for Drew Brees. No surprise. Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, both at the top of the NFL in their respective categories. It's amazing how similar they are, how well, John, they complement each other.
Yeah, those guys are able to play off one another. You're talking about 2 really competitive players, 2 guys who don't like to lose reps in practice and certainly don't like to lose them in games. And you put them in game situations and get them on one-on-one situations or get them in space, and both of those guys are extremely productive. Both have really good hands. In fact, Alvin Kamara, as a running back, has hands like a receiver. He really doubles as a receiver out of the backfield.
It's interesting. Both Thomas and Kamara have gotten almost to the point where they're uncomfortable talking about their own accomplishments here of late. And John, they have to be, I guess, because everybody's talking about their play.
Well, it's one thing to be uncomfortable, but look, it's better to be that way rather than the other side, not producing and have people not talking about you. We're talking about guys who are on record-setting paces, so certainly these are good things that people are talking about.
Yeah, and they also certainly like to also gush about the other, as did Michael Thomas today regarding Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, he's a competitor. You know, he's a guy that loves to win. He wants to move the chains. He's a guy that likes the ball in his hand. And he's so dynamic that, you know, whenever you're on the same side as him, you don't want to put him in a situation to slow down. You want that guy to keep playing fast, and you want to be playing fast yourself. So, you know, we just complement each other. We talk to each other a lot during the game, and we kind of just have each other's back. And we know that, you know, our team's counting on us to move the ball down there and put points on the board and make the plays when they're needed. So.
John, one more thing about our visit to the locker room today. We did get a chance to talk to Brandon Tate for the first time since training camp when he was last with the New Orleans Saints. He's raring and ready to go, as we had reported yesterday, him being back with the team now.
Yeah, he's a guy who almost made this 53-man roster coming out of training camp, specifically on this roster to punt and kick return. Looks like those will be his duties this weekend.
All right. As far as practice went on the field today, again, it was inside. It looks like it was a lot. There was a lot of participation from all the principals today, John.
Yeah, guys who were limited yesterday were available during the portion of practice that we were able to see. That includes Cam Jordan, Alvin Kamara, Terron Armstead, Tate Jr., all those guys back. Manti Te'o did not practice again. He did some conditioning work off to the side, so we'll continue to monitor his progress.
Certainly we'll do that, as we will tomorrow as we wrap up this week before the Saints head off to the New York City area on Saturday. Until tomorrow then, for John DeShazier, I'm Sean Kelley. Enjoy the rest of your Thursday once again on the ACME Oyster House Afternoon Wrap.